Svetashvatra Upanishad, the third chapter, 18th verse. Sveta 13.
What page is that, Swami? Because we have
137.
Okay, so
Yeah.
watch it on video. I know.
Third chapter, 18th verse. The Supreme Self, which is the Lord of the entire world, consisting of the unmoving and the moving, moves outward by becoming embodied in the city of nine gates. So, yeah, it's just like Navadware Pure Dehi Hangso Lelayate Bahi Vashi Sarvasya Lokasya Stavarasya Charasya Cha. Yeah, it's an oft you can say repeated words like this soul, supreme soul is Hamsa, dwells in this body of nine gates. The body is likened to a city. In the old cities, we had the Greek, cities like city states, and it has its own internal administration and this and that and protection and the works. So, like these were the old days. So said the body is likened to a kind of a city, and then with nine gates, five, seven on the head and two below, and we have the senses and the mind and the mm, life forces and all these things as administrators, as protectors, all this, and the king, or you would say the elected official.
Elected. Who elects him? Good point.
Yeah, who elects him? That's a nice one.
Gotta be Brahman. Who else is left?
People or babies, who live without a kind of a mind, just on reflex. We live like that. Really? Now it's the turn of prana to leave. And as it left, as if all the senses and mind were like dragged out like a horse, a spirited horse, pulling at its pegs, this tide, and it's uprooting everyone. Hey, wait. Don't leave, don't leave. You are the best, you are the greatest, you are the oldest. Okay, fine. So it was the old story. So this is how the so in this city of nine gates, like into a city, there is a Dehi, the one who lives in the body, for whom the body is. We are apt to think of the body as a reality. No, everything is meant for someone else, and that's what we ought to also understand. That I may be egotistical, I may be proud, I may be anything, but if I can tell myself, make myself understand that all these things are meant for someone else, can I help people? I have my sense of individuality. Can it help people? Can it help the world? So what with all its faculties is meant for someone else. It's called the Dehi, the embodied soul. Yeah. So all these things are meant for that. And how is he described as Hamsa? That is, you've seen pictures of the Ramakrishna mission, the kind of a snake, kind of circling a sea, a rough sea, and a lotus, and the sun rising behind it. And there's a swan on that lake, in the waters. The Supreme Soul is depicted like a swan. That's why he said Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, the supreme, you can say, self. One person who realizes the supreme self, he or she are called Paramahamsas. Like we have this Paramahamsa Yogananda, Paramahamsa Ramakrishna. And that's also the highest stage of a monk. It's called Paramahamsa. So the supreme soul is depicted like a kind of a swan. Why? Because they have a kind of acidic tongue or something like that that can separate water from milk. When you give them milk, it'll take only the milk and leave the water. So it is a kind of an illustration of those who can separate the divine from the non-divine, who can separate the individual soul, which is the supreme soul, from the body and senses and mind, etc. So that's why it's called Hamsa. Now, in an ordinary body, in the sense of more or less a kind of a healthy body which does not have any kind of breathing trouble, we breathe 21,600 times a day. Yeah, you don't even realize it. and and when we breathe in and breathe out, it is like say sa ha hung sa hung sa. We are actually repeating the name of that supreme self, but we do it so unconsciously that we are not aware that we are actually calling out to our own selves. And if you push this analogy a little further, God also breathes in and breathes out the whole universe. The in the now, if you push it a little further on, you can say when we breathe in and we breathe out, these are the processes of creation and you can say destruction. It is the form of Shiva and Shakti. When we breathe in, it's like Shiva, with everything goes and quiet and stuff. And then when we breathe out, it is, you can Shakti or Kali. They are both conjoined. Between each breath, there is a slight, you can say, pause. And that Hamsa, 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 there's a slight pause. That is a transcendental aspect of that Supreme Self. So it is manifested as well as transcendent. Okay. Now, yeah, I mean, if you push all these things, you can see how.
Can you repeat what you just said about the transcendent?
Yeah, it is
the
that
gap?
silent. That's a gap between two breaths. There's a kind of a break. That's a silent aspect of sa ha sam sa. That is when you breathe.
Would that
That
be
that silent part between two breaths is called a transcendental aspect of the self. That is called Shiva. If you can, if you like to look at it from the, like Sri Ramakrishna says, every jiva is actually Shiva. Yes, every individual soul is actually the supreme soul. Now, when we look at this, like, okay, that breathing and breathing out is the jiva, and that silent aspect of that is the Shiva, the Shiva aspect. Okay.
So I've heard of the gap between two thoughts. Would that be some?
No, we are just talking about breathing. Yeah, you can. Yeah, one thought. There is a kind of a break between one thought and the second thought. It's a kind of a causal relationship. But maybe just use the illustration of a breath. But there's a slight, you can say, pause between two breaths. We don't, well, except when you're tired. But even then, you can find a small gap. So this is what is it, Hamsa. So what is the nature of this? It is the Lord of the entire world. Here it is. I mean, Lord, not in the kind of uh, male or female. It's just that there's a lordship of the entire world and of the the Svetashpatra Rishi says of the moving and the unmoving. The entire moving and the unmoving universe. That is the Lord. But how can this be the yes? This is a fragment or a part or an aspect of that Supreme Self. This individual, Jiva, when it realizes there is that's the reason why when in the state of Samadhi, your breathing stops. Yes, your breathing stops. In fact, there were doctors who checked Ramakrishna's pulse and they even put a stethoscope on his chest. And, huh? No heartbeat, no breath. This guy's dead. And after a while, Ramakrishna comes down back to the body. And he keeps on talking in love. This guy was just dead. No, he has merged into that soundless, that transcendental aspect of the self. Because the higher aspect, the supreme aspect of the self cannot be separate from that individual aspect. Otherwise, the whole thing will collapse. Then you will get dualism, the supreme self and the individual self. But yeah, Vedanta says there is no difference between the supreme and the individual self. This we all, for a brief pause of time, we are thinking ourselves separate. That's okay. But then it's just for a brief, you can say, limit of time. The whole thing will disappear. And but we have not completely forgotten that we are the supreme self and we are that embodied self here, and we keep on. So, Hamsa. So, Hamsa. This is how it's like that the whole moving and the unmoving universe is reminding itself about its origins, about its real nature. And what does this embodied self, who is the supreme self, saying? It moves outwards, becoming embodied. It moves outward. Now, this is the kind of teachings in one of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that what is the color of this supreme self? And it says Hiranmaya, it's golden colored. And it is single, Ekahamsa. It's a single supreme self which is golden in color. And it takes care of the body. How? When the body goes to sleep, it withdraws itself to its location there in the cave of the heart and oversees all the functions, yeah, by its own powers. It sees that the breath is going on. Okay, the senses are functioning. That's like when you sleep, your body functions like it is in the waking state. There's circulation, there's heartbeat, the lungs are functioning, and the kidneys are functioning. Everything's functioning. But only consciousness has kind of gone to another dimension. We are not aware. So it protects this nest, they say, protects this nest of the body. Like a bird, you know, it likes to protect its nest because it has the fledglings there. So it's going to attack anything, any predator that comes. So this body is likened in that Upanishad, is likened to a kind of a nest where all these things are there. And that supreme self, golden color, watches over this. So we say, who looks after us and who's there for us? No. The whole supreme self presides over all the functions of the body. Yes, amazing. That's why they say God himself. There's one in incident in Shri Ramakrishna's life. There's a guy. I'm going to repeat it maybe probably. He plucks a rose or a flower. I'm not sure. It's a rose. Plucks a flower from a plant and takes a long, deep whiff. Ah, so fragrant. And then after a while, he throws his flower, discards it. Sri Ramakrishna gets extremely annoyed. Fool, you do not know how much effort the Lord has to endure to produce such a flower. And you, well, it's not the flower, you should be reminded of that supreme creative residing being.
Why is it Hamsa and not Soham?
Yeah, you can also say that, but then when we talk about this like the soham, then it's a so um, hangsa. It is one after the other, so it becomes hangsa. It's like there was the author of the Ramayana, the story of Rama. He was initiated not with the Rama mantra, but with the Mara mantra. Rama. So he was so, he had committed so many crimes. He wasn't even fit to take the name of God. So Narada reversed Rama and gave it to him, and he kept on repeating. And as he repeats, then you automatically get Rama, and then slowly, he became a sage. And not only became a sage, he wrote this whole, the first, you can say, that's why it's called the first poet, Adi Kavi. He wrote the Ramayana. And today also you see, it's so beautiful. The verse, the sentiments, the aesthetic, unbelievable. So here you have it. So yes, why not? There are some Upanishad who uses the Soham. Yes. But since the context is Hamsa, and it also relates to, like I said, that supreme swan. And that's why Swami Vivekananda, when he made the symbol, the coil, the snake that's around that symbol is the symbol of yoga. The wavy waters is karma yoga. The lotus is bhakti yoga. And the sun is jnana yoga. So by the combination of all these four yogas, the vision of the supreme self is gained, which is depicted like a swan. Beautiful. It encapsulates some very mighty idea. And he's saying this will be the ideal of the present age. We have to combine all our faculties in order to realize a self, the supreme self, that is. So he's saying uh, moves outward. Lelayate bahi. Now, what is this move? There in the Upanishad is saying that he looks after this nest of the body, protects all the functions that are going on within, and can move out at will because it is beyond any physical laws. It's a spiritual entity. And the spirit cannot be just compressed in one part. It appears to be kind of compressed in this body, but really it is not. It is all pervasive. So moves out. Uh, so here we have the Supreme Self, which is the Lord of the entire world, consisting of the unmoving and the moving. So really, that Supreme Self, yes, it's a tremendous, you can say, uh, responsibility also for us. That that reality which is within, we don't even know that. Why? And our job will be to intuit that. So here he's saying, so that's why he's saying, and it is here in the body. It's become embodied in the city of nine gates. So here, this body here. That's the reason why Vedanta discards all other studies on the external world, saying if you study, the whole of Vedanta is based on the real nature of the person. Here is the person, study this person, and if you study it properly, you will find that there's a transcendent aspect there. You don't have to invent gods and goddesses and creators and this and that. So in the mythology, you have all these creators and gods and goddesses and this and that and everything, the whole pantheon. Vedanta says, see, you have a form, and that's why you want your gods also to be like you. They should resemble you. But a little, with a little extra, like you have two hands, they have four hands. So, so it is the anthropomorphic god that, and amazingly, there's a kind of proposal to name this age the Anthropomorphine age, the age of the humans, because we have impacted this earth so much. Pleistocene and all these things are now converting now into the Anthropomorphine. Anthropomorphic is the study of man, the study of human form. So Vedanta based its whole, you can say, study on this person. Here you are, let's study you. What is there within you? And they kept on studying and studying and studying and studying, and they discovered this, the transcendent. And then, so it brings all the gods which were out in the heavens and skies and everything, brings them back inside the body. And that's why last time you said that the one faculty is presided over by one god. So it brings everything inside. Here you are now the divinity itself. Where do you worship? What do you worship? Just realize that you are that supreme self. And that's why Vedanta becomes relevant. Today we have people are talking about individuality and identity and this and that. So Vedanta is a perfect system. Yes, we'll explain to you what's your individuality. Here it is. So the ancient Vedantins, the ancient Aryans, they say, first studied, the inquiry went inside. And from inside, they saw What was inside is also outside. Other religions, they started their study from the outside, and now they are slowly coming in, moving inside. Obvious. Has to be, because it's all connected. You cannot say now we have every religion talking about, yes, there's a divinity within you, there's a soul within you, this and that, and they're not agreed on what's the nature of that and how it is residing there. But it is sufficient to understand, okay, fine, they're finally all coming inside. Because this is the age of humankind. Yes. And that's why I keep on saying this is, you dissect, bisect, trisect, whatever the human personality, find out. And that's why it is not contradictory to any existing sciences, or philosophies, or poetry, or art, or anything. It's no. Come on. Oh yes, this also. Oh, this also is included. This also included. So, okay, geology says the Earth was created about 4.5 billion years. Oh, that's perfectly fine. Now we are very happy about it. Ah, what's wrong? Oh, we can include that also in this, because it now even enhances our study of the individual. That these individual souls have been here for so long, and we've been talking about it. It's ancient, and all these things. So that's the reason why. And ultimately, we are in studying the external world. We are actually trying to study our own selves. Why are we here, and how did we get here? Here it is. Fine. So whether you want to say God created us, fine, perfect. But then we can also say that yes, our conceptions of God are human, because we are human. So like Swami Vivekananda says, no, oh, if a tiger uh, begins to worship God, he'll say, oh God, you see these humans, they don't come and lay themselves in front of us to be eaten. How miserable these people are, these humans. So for the tiger, there will be a tiger, huge tiger god. So yeah. So Vedanta says, okay, don't go in for this tiger god or the dog god or the oxen god or any god. God is that formless reality, which is within everyone, which is in the tiger, which is in you, me, and everything. So this becomes extremely comprehensive. So that's why it said that the Lord of the entire universe world, consisting of the moving and the unmoving. So everything. So unmoving, something which is unmoving today, say a rock, will in time degenerate into kind of sand, break down to sand, and from the sand a plant will emerge, and from the plant fruits and flowers and everything will emerge, or maybe uh, some animal will eat that plant, and we will eat that animal, and so there is nothing in this world which you can be called as insentient on a permanent basis. Nothing. Clay and rocks and everything are kind of transforming from the coming to the living, becoming alive, and going back. So you have breakfast and you have a kind of a mango, and that mango was got from a tree. For all purposes, that mango is a kind of insentient. But the moment it goes inside, it becomes you. It does not remain as a mango. Its identity has gone off. It remains what? It becomes you. There you are. So all these things which are in the external world should not be uh, derided as low or something like that. No, or useless. No, there is a plan and purpose for each and everything. And that is why you say you study even the smallest thing and you will get the insight into the largest thing. So that verse will come a little later. We take the next verse on page 138, the third chapter, 19th verse. He is without hands and feet, and yet moves and grasps, holds. He sees through without eyes. He sees, sorry, though without eyes. He hears, though without ears. He knows whatever is to be known, and of him there is no knower. They speak of him as the first, the Purusha, and the great. There is no gender here. Sir, it is sir. That. That is without hands and feet and yet moves and grasps. That sees, though without eyes. That hears, though without ears. That knows whatever is to be known. And of that there is no knower other than that. They speak of that as the first, the Purusha, and the great. Now, this verse, amazingly, is like a kind of a contradiction of the 16th verse, where 16th and 17th verse, where it says on page 135, it has hands and feet everywhere, and eyes and heads and faces everywhere, and possessed of ears and ears everywhere, it exists amongst all creatures, pervading all. Now, suddenly, hey, what happened? You were talking about it having all hands and feet, and suddenly you talk about what? It's talking about that transcendent aspect. So the aspect, this reality has two aspects: that which is perceptible, which we experience, and which we also experience, the Supreme Self also experienced, but unknowingly. Because to understand the world, to understand anything through the senses, or to gain knowledge, the scriptures say that first you have to first experience the self. It is a self through which all these things flow. So we are actually experiencing that supreme self before we can experience this. Only what's happened is this has become so large in our consciousness, we have forgotten that. So when I uh, turn on the faucet, I need water and I get water and I drink that water. But how many people are working behind that faucet to get that? We are simply discussing. And we turn on the lights. Yeah, but how many people are working in these utilities? Amazing. We all dismiss them as I want light, I want water, I want food, but you don't see the entire chain. Similarly, when we experience this world through our senses, we don't realize that supreme self there, which makes this possible. And that's why they're saying we do experience it, but we do it unconsciously. Why? Why should we do it? Yeah, there's a kind of slight veil that comes between you and that. Maybe you're not ready for that. Maybe. So to rend that, you can say, veil, you'll need a little, you can say, direction, a little strength, and a kind of a grace, which we'll talk about in the next. So here, uh, so it is talking about that reality which is beyond all hands and feet and eyes and heads and ears and it can know. That is consciousness that's pure. Consciousness, as it were, that consciousness, when it flows through all these things, appears limited. And it appears as I have likes and I have dislikes, I have joy, I have sorrow, I have this, I have that, and this and that, and this and that. So, this is the verse speaks of here. And what is that transcendental aspect of that of our own selves? That as the great, as the Purusha, that fills everything, and as the first. So in the one of the Upanishad, the the Lord, when it became self-aware, I am one. Let me be many, and it became many. Eko ham bhavishyama. So that one entity became many. So we too also like to be many. Why stick like Sri Ramakrishna? Why sing on just one scale when you have seven scales? Sa, do. Why? You have other scale. Go around, go around. We are always looking for kind of variety. You give a person one type of food every day. For after a couple of days, that person is going to revolt. What is this? Don't you have anything more? Can't you cook anything more than this? We hate monotony. We hate something which is same. You do the same thing every day. No, actually, we don't do the same thing every day. We are constantly trying to diversify. We are constantly trying to explore new grounds. We are constantly trying to expand ourselves. This is what is. So we are not satisfied. I'm going to be alone myself and not do anything. No, you're very. The lower nature will drag you out. Oh, there's a homeless person. How are you? And can I help you? I talk to them. Then I meet somebody, a friend of mine. Hey, how are you? It's been a long time. This and I constantly, am trying to diversify myself everywhere. And I look at the tree and wow, it's so beautiful. Of course, sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I don't look at a tree. I say, how beautiful. How? Oh. And then everything is as like, no, I'm constantly get in touch with all these things. So, like I said, there is one aspect there which is without hands and feet and moves and without grasping, without holding. Where moving means legs and grasping with hands, and he sees though without eyes. Yes, with eyes. You might have the. I might be looking at you, but what happens is sometimes I'm looking at you, but I'm not seeing you in the sense of I'm preoccupied with something. A person comes and calls out to me, and I might not be aware of what happened to you. So consciousness is there. It's not, but it was, you can say, giving attention to certain things and neglecting others. So consciousness, though it is operating in this world like this, it can exist without all these things, and yet it is there. The very fact we are sitting and talking, and you are listening, is because of that consciousness. If that is removed, everything falls to the ground. So that's what it sees, its ears, and everything. It does not need any kind of limitations. So that's why it's not contradictory. Like this order of reality, here it is. And where is that? Somewhere in the skies or in heaven? No, 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 no. The verse says extremely clearly, it's behind the ears. That's why in the Kena Upanishad say, it's the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind. Huh? Is there a bigger eye there? Bigger ear? No. It means it is the basis of all our visions and faculties and all these things. So it is here within. You don't need to go to the skies and everywhere. So you go to the rocket and up, and then there are some people. Wow, they went to heaven and they came back. Did you see somebody, something flying, something? You heard? Did you hear some voices? No. What? All our lives you've been hearing that somewhere up, down, or somewhere down below. No, it's not there. It's there within you. That consciousness is there within you. Stop looking for these things outside and look. So it's within ourselves, a little more deeper in the very core of our being is this, that it does everything through the senses of mind. Now, suppose it does not have a sensory apparatus or anything like that. It'll exist as it is. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So, will it die? No, it doesn't die. It will remain as it is. That's why I'm saying uh, there is no other knower than that. How can you have another consciousness? Because one consciousness will limit the other. And they're both. That is the problem with all dualistic religion. In the Zoroastrian religion, God comes and creates this, and then the Satan comes, Ahriman, and he keeps on disturbing this creation. He is a force, they are the forces of darkness, God is the force of light, and that old duality has been troubling us over and over again. Satan comes and tempts us. There is no Satan come to tempt you, as if that guy doesn't have any other job there. He's, yeah, he is busy, in those fires of hell if they are there, because that Satan is in his element. Yeah, he is in hellfire. Why should he leave his hell? That's his place. That's his glory. That is everything. And does he want candidates? No, you don't have to bother about that. Okay. So we all are trying to get away from duality somehow. This kind of you can say depiction of reality fragmented, somewhere deep down we understand the fragmentation to be not original, and there we want to go back to ourselves. That's why the kind of a reminder, hey, so you are that, why are you bothered about all these things? So just understand, this body and the senses and the mind will keep on functioning as they are functioning. But if you come out of this whole mass and identify yourself with that supreme soul, then everything becomes perfect. So this is what, at one stage of realization, you see yourself bereft or without all these things, that you are kind of transcendent. Like, take a kind of a crude example of suddenly, uh, like in out of body experiences or near death experiences, what happens is uh, suddenly uh, people have a kind of a cardiac arrest or maybe a stroke, and sometimes they see themselves out, hey, and then look down. and the doctors and nurses are trying to get in, and trying to pump that chest and this and that and bring all the emergency measures, trying to revive that. That person is looking, wait, wait. And yeah, it is seeing everything though, and knowing everything. So that is that transcendent aspect that's just separated itself. Why don't we identify ourselves with that? That is what actually is the real thing there. So we know it's actually here. This is my eye and this is my ear. Yeah, but then you can even see without your eyes and without your ears and without your mind. This that whatever emerges out in times of crisis, in times of accidents, in especially when there's a kind of a death going to be involved, something comes out and sees the whole thing. Oh, and it's trying to communicate. They can't see that. And then due to some unfulfilled work, karma, that person comes down and says, oh, it's so painful and pain. When that entity was outside, there was no pain, nothing. They're like, oh, it's painful. Hey, there, it identified itself there with that old body. So if we can, even intellectually, we can try to understand, try to, separate ourselves from this body and this. That's a tremendous sense of, you can say, achievement. Oh my God, why was I thinking that I was limited and I was only this? No, I am much more. So that's the reason why I say, so of course, that which emerges out is only another smaller aspect of that being. Then we see that, oh, it is really the supreme self. So we can read the next. There again comes page 139. The verse is the third chapter, 20th verse. The self that is subtler than the subtle and greater than the great is lodged in the heart of every creature. Here it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful, you can say, illustration. Smaller than the smallest, like the what is small? Atom. So atom is the smallest thing, yes. The atom is that which cannot be subdivided further. Now they found that yes, it can be subdivided. So here the sages say it is smaller than even an atom. That is a subatom. It's a even subatom. That's why it's called anu. Anu is atom. Anor, a neon. It is smaller than the smallest atom and greater than the greatest. You can say the whole cosmos. You can say, wow, it's so great. It is even greater than that. Now, if you take it as there are other multiple universes, not universes. He doesn't like the idea of multiverse. So, so it's even greater than that. And that reality, which is so great, smaller than this, ranging from the smallest to the greatest, where is it? And the sage says, it is lodged there in your heart. There, the tremendous statement is lodged in the heart of every creature. So we are that. We are the smaller than the smallest, subtler, I mean, subtle, and greater than the greatest. That is our identity. And he says, how can it be realized? Through the grace of the Lord, one who sees that self as desireless and sees its glory as God becomes sorrowless. Now, this verse is a kind of a, it's a slight sequence of words in the second line. It's the same which is found in the Kathopanishad. And this verse, as it is, has been reprinted in the Mahanarayana Upanishad. So, and we asked to memorize this. That is the greatest, that which is there within your own heart. Because what we are always trying to give reality a kind of a location. See, if I know where my hand is, I can now move it towards the computer or something, the chair. So I need to know where my hand is. Suppose I don't know and I want the computer. So how do I do it? Where's my hand? There it is. Oh, here. Okay, fine. Here. Now I can get that computer or the chair or whatever. So similarly, the sage said, here it is there. Where? In the core of your being, in your heart. Really? And it is there where you realize the greater than the greatest and the smaller than the smallest. It is the, you can say, self of all. That is including, if you want to have the gods and goddesses. So you say, from Brahma, from the creator God, to the blade of grass. Brahma Stamba Pariyanta. It is pervading all creatures. There within your own heart. I want to catch it. Now I want to catch it here. And then how? He say, now here comes an element which many people think that, oh, we are left to our own devices. No. Saying, through the grace of the Lord, here, that which is there, that reality, is also gracious. It is not a kind of a dry reality, beyond ken. No, it is gracious to us. That's why, through the grace of the Lord, one who sees that self as desireless, desires are in the mind, in my body, in my hands, in my feet, in my eyes, and this and that. But that self is being described as desireless. So when grace comes, then what happens? Then you understand that the self is beyond all desires. One there was my teacher, my guru, in a kind of a hilarious way. I think many people come saying, I want peace of mind. How do I get peace of mind? So my guru used to say, oh, it's very easy. Really? Then please tell me. You give up all desires. And Holy Mother says, when you become desireless, like nirvasana, you attain peace, you attain liberation. Now, where are all these desires? There are something called right desires. If I suppose I want to help somebody, that's a desire, but that's a good desire. But what happens? We get fixed, we get caught up even in good desires. So they've lumped all the good and bad desires together, and these will be part of the body and mind. But that self inside is beyond all desires. That's what it says. And sees its glory as God. Isha. What is tremendous? It sees God in the sense of that all pervading reality. So it is a grace. And this idea of grace also has come in the Kathopanishad, that it due to God's grace, you realize that self as beyond all desires. So it makes you also beyond all desires. Why do you have to desire? You are knowledge. Why do you want happiness? You are bliss. Your very nature is it. I want peace. But your very nature is peace. That's why in the Upanishad it's called the self is called Shantam, peace, Shivam, auspiciousness. So all these things are really your nature. And what has happened? All you've forgotten all these things. Oh, then to the grace of God, to the grace of the self, I have realized that I am beyond all these desires, all the body and mind and all these things. I am the self. I don't need anything. There's another reading that this person becomes sorrowless. It's just kind of trying to saying that okay, you can come free from sorrow. I think like when the senses, like dhatu, senses, and even all the elements that constitute my body, when they are placid, when they are calm, the mind and everything becomes calm. Then the grace of God dawns, and then you understand. Yes, I am the self. So that's a kind of a. It is alternate reading also given in the on the page on 139. 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth line from below. All the organs, that is all the sensory and the motor organ, are the dhatus, that is element, because they sustain the body. So dhatu prasada, that is through the clearness of the elements within. Why clearness? It has now become free from all defects through the removal of their impurities. They become free. They become clear. I don't want this forever. I want it now. Okay, I'll use it, utilize it, and let it go. In the sense of, I won't be hankering for it. I won't be thinking about it all through. No, this is an instrument. I'll use it. It is not me. I am using it for this work. And after this work is over, I go to the next work and the next work. And that's what actually I've been doing all my life. Holding on things, trying to enrich myself, enrich the world, letting it go, take the next one, take the next one, and next one, and next one. Right? The monkey with jumps from one branch to the other, one tree to the other. You cannot have the monkey holding on the branches of two trees. Is going to, and somebody is going to shoot it down. It has to leave its grip on one and get hold of the other. So once you understand this, then what happens? The senses become pure. Oh, why should I constantly? I've had one chocolate ice cream. Yeah, or we get back to this. Yeah. And I have eaten. Now, why do I think about it? Sri Ramakrishna in one time that Mathur Babu was his, you can say, guardian in the sense of he was the owner of that whole temple complex, and he was a very rich man. And one time, Sri Ramakrishna wanted to have a kind of expensive shawl, and he gave him a kind of an expensive shawl. And then, oh, this is the expensive shawl. Then he wanted a kind of a long hookah. Then he gave a hookah, a plate of sweets. This and that. So you see, mind. This is what is called the expensive shawl, and he throws it. Anyone to tramples on it, wants to burn it. I don't know. And then he takes a few puffs, and this is what. And it takes sweet. That rasgulla, he puts it on the left side and the right side. Taste it. Say when it goes down, there's no taste at all. So you see, mind. This is what it is. Yeah, this is how his senses became pure, clarified, because there was no more hankering for it. Things will come to you, take it, enrich yourself, move on to the next thing. Enrich yourself, move on to the third thing. Keep on, keep on, keep on. 20 years ago, that guy, he said something in front of 20 people, and I was so embarrassed. There you are. Why did you hold on to this? There's a story of Bhagwan Buddha. He and a disciple were fording a stream, and there was a lady, a woman, who was somehow, I think she was drowning and she was being dragged by the current. So what Buddha did, what he goes and he rescues her and he brings her to the bank, keeps her. And that woman is so grateful. So the other monk is telling Buddha, hey, you touched a woman, you carried her on the shoulder. You know, your monk is not supposed to do that. And he keeps on till they enter the monastery. He's keeping on and on and on and on. Buddha said, I left that woman down there on the bank of the river. You brought her here. So it's like that. You do your task, and why do you want to think about it? Oh, how great I am. No, no, you go to the next station and then you enrich yourself there. Go. Because life is a journey. Don't keep on. I've got post traumatic stress disorder. One guy said, why do you want to think about it? Yeah. Why do you want to think about it? You've been dwelling on it and it becomes worse. Yes, there are scars. I understand. Certain experiences are bad, especially children who get these kind of scars at early life. Bad. But dwelling on those things is not going to help you. It even magnifies those scars and those hurt and those experiences. It is wrong. It is wrong to harm anybody mentally. It is. There is no doubt. But that person who is hurt also should understand I've got to drop this self pity and this feeling of hurt and abuse and this and that. I cannot function properly. Every time I'm kind of uh, cramped and stymied and, with a,
But it's stored in the body, though. I mean, all those memories are stored in the body. So how do you get rid of it? You have to like deal with it.
yeah, it's in as samskaras. And suppose you angry and that anger gets translated in the body.
And then your body purges.
Yeah.
And you can't really
So
function.
what happens is you can always counter your past experience to new experiences.
Yeah.
Always. You can.
And the pain
That
will go away.
yes.
The body.
Oh yes. Because that is the freedom that we have been given. Otherwise you'll be automatons. You will just be a kind of there's no freedom at all.
Prayer also helps.
Prayer helps tremendously. Yes. So we have in our hands the power to rectify ourselves. Yeah, we ought to utilize it, and we can and we do. Gradually, we keep on slowly moving ahead. It's a kind of don't look back. Okay, fine. Everything is over. It's over. You are the resultant of everything that you have done. You have made mistakes and you have done something perfectly good. You are the result. There's actually when I look back at my life and I should think, oh, I should have done that correctly or that was a mistake. But now, no, everything that I have done has gone in to contribute to my growth. My mistakes, my sins, my whatever I've done, nothing is ever useless.
No matter if the trauma was done 5 minutes ago or 30 years ago.
Yes,
or-
yes. It's nothing. Everything has gone in molding Yes, character. There is no thing which you have done useless. Of course, there is something called the Pareto, or you can say distribution. It's not uh, just to explain it. Say 20% is your quality time. It contributes to 80% of your growth. 80% of the time you spent in working in this is wasted. It's only the 20% that you do covers everything. So, and this is what happens. So, here we have, if we can increase the quality time, that 20% to 21, 22, 20, 25, 20, in a whole day, our working, waking time, if you take it as 100%, 20% of that what you work covers the rest. The rest is all useless things. But suppose but we are paying attention and we keep on increasing the quality of time, quality of work. Suppose we do it 100%. Wow, we are helping ourselves and helping the world, obviously. So even if you discount the time taken for your rest and bathing and this and that, it's that 20% that we can slowly increase and becomes enhance. We can enhance. So similarly, you keep on thinking, uh, that guy wasn't so nice with me in this and that. He should have said nice things. But anyway, I've been thinking about it and constantly, it's kind of a kind of piece of music that keeps on rotating in your head. You kind of a worm there, music worm. Keeps on. So you can say we need to drop this thing. Proceed. So this is what makes the senses and makes all the elements in the body calm. Sri Ramakrishna one time when somebody touched his feet, ow! As if kind of a scorpion had stung. That person's elements in the body are so heated up by all that kind of worry and tension and stress that whole body has been heated up. So Sri Ramakrishna felt, ah! And if a person who's nice and calm and sweet touches another person, the touch is cool. Yes. So here we are. So Dhatu Prasada, all the elements become nice and calm, and then we can see the glory of the self through the Lord's grace. It is like Sri Ramakrishna says, the wind of grace is constantly flowing. We need just to unfurl the sail. And we don't have to complain. There's no grace. Oh, you just sitting down there and you have a sail. Why don't you catch the wind? Catch that grace. Yeah. So the grace is not, you can say, partial. Oh, that person is he's my favorite and this person is my no, it's there constant. So it's like this. Through the grace of the Lord, one who sees that self as desireless and sees his glory as God becomes sorrowless. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like to say with regard to that, now that you're off of
Yeah.
there, that when you're 35 years old,